Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about eclampsia. This term eclampsia is derived from Greek word meaning like a flash of lightning. It may occur quite abruptly without any warning manifestation. However, the disease is preceded by features of severe preeclampsia. Let's see the definition. Preeclampsia, when complicated with grand mal seizures and generalized tonic-clonic seizures or coma, is called eclampsia. It may occur in patients with preeclampsia or in patients who have preeclampsia superimposed or chronic who are suffering with chronic nephritis. Let's see incidences and prevalence. 0.1 to 5.5 per 10,000 pregnancies. We can see this eclampsia decreasing incidence with the time. Antepartum 50%, mostly in the third trimester. In intrapartum stage 30%, and in the postpartum 20%. Usually within 48 hours. Fits beyond 7 days generally rules out the eclampsia. Risk factors. Maternal age is less than 20 years and multigravia. If the woman is suffered with molar pregnancy, chromosomal abnormality triploidy, if pre-existing hypertension or renal diseases, previous any severe preeclampsia or eclampsia, so for those there may be a chance, a non-immune hydrops fetalis, and who have suffered with systemic lupus erythematosus. So these are the risk factors. Clinical features. So eclamptic convulsions are epileptic form and consist 4 stages: premonitory stage, tonic stage, clonic stage, and stage of coma. Let's see what is premonitory stage. In this stage, twitching of muscle of face and tongue, limbs, and eyeballs rolled or turned to one side. Tonic stage, opisthotonus, that means spasm of the muscle, limbs flexed, hand clenched, clenchment, tight fits. And clonic stage, it will occur in like 1 to 4 minutes of duration. Frothing can be seen, tongue bite, stertorous breathing. And final is the stage of coma. This will be there for variable period. So these are the 4 stages. Pathogenesis. So due to the loss of normal cerebral autoregulatory mechanism may cause cerebral hyperperfusion. It will lead to edema and decreased cerebral blood flow. Diagnosis. Lab investigations should be done. Complete blood count, platelet count, liver function test, renal function test, urine analysis can be done, serum electrolytes, peripheral blood smear should be taken, prothrombin time should be seen, type and screen antibody if it is present. And angiotensin 2 tests. So this will be done with a dose of 8 mk per kg per body weight to increase diastolic blood pressure by giving 20 mm of Hg. Like by giving this dose of 8 mk per kg body weight to increase diastolic blood pressure. So when it will be taken positive means when there is a 20 mm of Hg is recorded as positive. Let's see the management. First, objectives of management should be like to control the hypertension, to improve intravascular volume, prevent convulsions and prevent the complications, and deliver viable fetus, a baby. First, to control the hypertension, most commonly for acute control, hydralazine, labetalol and nifedipine will be used, but unexpectedly hypotension may occur when given with magnesium sulfate. So, for refractory hypertension, that means up to 3 months if hypertension is not controlling, so nitroglycerin or nitroprusside may be used. Nitroprusside dose and duration should be limited to avoid fetal cyanide toxicity. If it is given, there may be a chance of fetal cyanide toxicity, and usually require invasive arterial pressure monitoring, and angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor contraindicated due to the severe adverse fetal effect. So, this should not be given. So, here are some antihypertensive drugs, method of action, side effects and contraindications. First one is methyl dopa. This will be given in a dose of 250 mg to 1 gram or 250 to 500 mg intravenously. And the method of action is central and peripheral antiadrenergic action. Side effects like maternal postural hypertension, hemolytic anemia can occur, sodium retention, excessive sedation, fetal intestinal ileus. So, contraindicated in hepatic disorders or also in psychic patients and congestive cardiac failure. Labetalol, it will be given in orally or IV, 100 mg TDS till 800 mg per day should be given. Intravenously 20 micrograms should be given, mg should be given till desired effect. Maximum 220 mg can be given. The action is alpha plus beta blocker. Side effects like maternal tachycardia, hypotension, fetal bradycardia and hypotension. Contraindicated in hepatic disorders. Next is the hydralazine. It should be given orally 100 mg per day in 4 divided doses. The action is peripheral vasodilatation. And the side effects are maternal hypotension, tachycardia, arrhythmia, palpitations, lupus-like syndrome. For fetal, it is safe. For neonate there might be a chances of thrombocytopenia. And if the person is suffering with sodium retention, then we have to use with diuretics. Nifedipine. It should be given orally 5 to 10 mg TDS. Arterial vasodilation. Method of action is arterial vasodilation. Side effects like flushing, hypotension, tachycardia, inhibition of labor. Contraindicated with magnesium sulfate and neuromuscular blocking agents. Nitroprusside, that is 0.25 mg to 8 microgram per kg should be given. Its action is direct vasodilator. Side effects are maternal nausea, vomiting, severe hypotension. There is a chance of cyanide toxicity for fetal. So, this is a antihypertensive drugs. So, for seizure prophylaxis and treatment, what can be done? Magnesium sulfate therapy. So, this magnesium sulfate has many effects. Its mechanism in seizure control is not clear, but it is an N-methyl deasparatate antagonist vasodilator, and brain parenchymal vasodilation demonstrated in preeclamptic by Doppler ultrasonography, which increases the release of prostacyclin. Proteinuria. It is urinary protein greater than 0.3 grams per liter in 24 hours. Collection or greater than 1 gram liter in 2 random samples obtained at least 6 hours apart. It indicates glomerular damage. When the proteinuria is there, it indicates glomerular damage and almost always occur after the hypertension. So, proteinuria usually in the range of 1 to 3 grams daily of which 50 to 60% is albumin, but in severe cases it may exceed up to 15 grams. So it's a common symptom in eclampsia. So treatment of magnesium toxicity. So whenever we found of magnesium toxicity, then we immediately should stop magnesium sulfate, and IV 1 gram 10% calcium gluconate slowly should be given. Administer oxygen, secure airway and ventilation. So there are various regimes can be seen in magnesium therapy. Here we will see two regimes, Pritchard and Zusspan or Cibai regime. In Pritchard regime, loading dose of 4 grams, that is 20 ml of 20% magnesium sulfate IV over 4 minutes, immediately followed by 10 grams 20 ml of 50%. IM, that is 5 grams in each buttock, should be given. If convulsion persists after 15 minutes, 2 gram you can add IV over 2 minutes. And maintenance dose is 5 grams IM every 4 hours, alternate site. Next is the Zusspan or Cibai regime. Loading dose is 6 gram IV over 20 minutes and maintenance dose is 2 to 3 grams per hour IV every 6 hours. So apart from hypertensives, seizures are usually short-lived. So here treatment of eclampsia is given. If necessary, small dose of barbiturate or benzodiazepines, STP 50 mg or midazolam 1 to mg should be given, and supplemental oxygen by mask. If seizures or patient is not breathing properly, rapid sequence induction with cricoid pressure, so intubation should be performed. So after doing intubation, patient may be, so after some time, if patient feel comfortable, then she will be extubated, that means tube is removed. Once she is completely awake, recovered from the neuromuscular blockade, and magnesium sulfate has been administered. Complications. So there are maternal and fetal complications can be seen. Tongue biting, head trauma, aspiration, broken bones, permanent central nervous system damage, intracranial hemorrhage, renal failure, death, injuries due to the falling from bed, disturbed vision, psychosis, shock can be seen. Acute left ventricular failure, pneumonia, acute respiratory syndrome, acute respiratory distress syndrome, pulmonary edema, hepatic necrosis can be seen. And for neonatal and fetal complications like death, prematurity, placental infarction, abruptio placenta, fetal hypoxia, aspiration, etc. and intrauterine growth retardation and sepsis can be seen. So this is about the complications of eclampsia. So here we have seen about eclampsia, their incidences, clinical features, management and complications. If you have doubts, please contact me.